Cups family. Welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot. Today I wanted to provide a PickAPile reading in regards to the Mars-Venus conjunction which is happening today. This energy will last all week long, and it really starts to set off a new cycle when these two planets come together once every 2.5 years. There seems to be a little bit of a reset. And because they are meeting in Leo, there's a lot of energy about healing our creative and feminine side. And there's rebalancing that comes here as far as getting our emotional needs met. Now, there's a lot more to this conjunction because you have to look at all of the astrology that's occurring right now. And we're just coming out of this Cancer new moon that we experienced a few days ago. And we are stepping into the energy of an Aquarius full moon. So we're going from a very healing, transformative Cancer energy into authentication of self energy. And so most likely there's a lot of healing occurring within us that's going to build enough self-esteem, self-reliance, and self-trust so that we could begin to rebalance and be more authentic in ourselves. It's a really important time for us, especially coming at the same time as the Saturn-Uranus square, where we're being shaken out of our comfort zones. There's simply structures in our life that are coming undone. There are things that no longer work for us, things that are coming to an end because our souls are seeking freedom. And when you look at Leo energy and the fact that both of these powerful planets are merging together in such a fire sign on the same day that we have a Leo moon, there's a grand trine in fire. And so this energy comes deep inside of us and it ignites new passions, new beliefs, new goals, and it's a reset. Because Venus and Mars are together, there's an equal balance of being able to take action as well as knowing when to be in more of a receiving mode. And it's important to understand that, especially with Leo, who is ultimately one of the most intuitive signs in the zodiac. So, as I said, we're learning to trust ourselves. There's also an emphasis on trusting our intuition. And it's really about what our heart wants this month, what our true desires are, and stripping away the fears that hold us back from expressing those things. The need for control, as these planets are kind of making aspects to Pluto as well in Capricorn. There's a lot of power struggle within us. There's always that dark and light, and really honestly it will always be that way. That is how we operate as humans. There must be dark in order to have light. So there's a good and a bad, and there's a purpose for everything, and all of those philosophical sayings that we use, as above so below kind of energy. We're able to reflect upon each other. Relationships are definitely going to come into play. This is definitely going to talk about how we relate to other people right now. Where we are socially, do we have good friendships and nourishing environments? It's about, do we love our home? Do we love our work? Are we emotionally fulfilled right now? Do we get enough attention? Is there enough passion in our lives? And if the answer is no to any of these things, we're certainly going to want to start doing the work or making the adjustments that need to be made. And because we have all of this energy going on with Jupiter in Pisces for just a couple more weeks until the end of the month when he retrogrades back into Aquarius, the pressure is really on to dream the big dreams. What happens is we have to take a really honest look at the things we're not quite so satisfied with. And we have to take personal accountability for those things and the role that we played in them. Did we settle? Did we people please? Did we overgive? All of these things have to have a really honest conversation with self in order to not repeat these mistakes going forward, because the promise, the potential of any new energy coming in is quite hopeful if you've done the healing. Some of you may still be resisting. Some of you might still be trying to hold on for fear of change, for fear of upsetting or hurting others. And this is an element of giving up your own personal power. And if you're somebody who's still there, which is absolutely fine, but know that the universe is really going to start to make you uncomfortable. You've got about 6 more months of the Saturn-Uranus square, and these 6 months are pretty turbulent. So if there's something that you're procrastinating or putting off or trying not to make the decision or not wanting to make waves or changes in your life, from this point forward, I don't know if you're gonna have a lot of choice in it. And it's always easier to work with spirit, to work with the universe, and not cause too much resistance. So it may be a time where you have to step out of your comfort zone by kind of surrendering control, allowing things to unfold, being vulnerable, getting over some pretty deep fears. Some of you may want to start businesses. Some of you may be wanting to leave jobs or leave relationships you've been in for a really long time. And yet the idea of the clean slate is a little bit intimidating. And so the universe is really going to start pushing you, because the opportunities are going to present themselves. And the Leo energy is always questioning, do you have the courage? What is your intuition telling you? How do you want to proceed? Let's not forget that Leo is the sun card in the zodiac. It's the ultimate experience of happiness. And so this is a really beautiful conjunction, which could bring in a lot of beautiful changes inside ourselves as well as outside in our lives, in our physical presence. It holds a lot of potential. And I do hope that all of you have a wonderful experience with this over the next couple of weeks. So if you don't understand how a PickAPile card reading goes, you saw me shuffle the cards. There's 3 individual piles here. We have got the green agate, probably representing the heart chakra. We have the fuchsia pile number 2, representing the crown chakra to me. And then we have this reddish orange agate, which probably represents the root chakra. Okay, so pick a number, pick a stone, a color that you're drawn to, whatever it is that piques your intuition. Feel free to listen to all 3 readings to find out what resonates. However this works for you, it's kind of whatever your intuition tells you. Okay, guys? There are timestamps in the description box below, and I'll also try to make a comment with them as well, so you don't have to listen to every reading if you don't want. All right, guys. See you soon. Bye. Okay, pile number 1. Your cards came out, you in the energy of the Page of Earth, and your environment is that of transformation. And right away, I was kind of given this feeling of requiring growth. And I think that's what this Page of Earth is all about. It kind of indicates to me that you're in a phase in life where you would prefer new experiences to the things that you have known before or in the past. Now, it's very practical energy, and yet it does require freedom. Freedom to explore, to create new options, to plant new seeds. And I say that more so because you have this transformation, card number 13, which breaks down actually to the number 4, which to me is about emotional foundations. And so it feels to me like you are growing more solid in self, probably recently increased your self-esteem, your self-worth, recognizing your value. And I think this has been a process for some time, right? Ten of Wands. To me, this feels as though there's been a lot of burdens, a lot of things weighing heavily on you. And when we get the Ten of Wands, it is an indication that certain obligations had to go, especially right here next to the Choice card, the Lover's card. Now, what struck me is underneath this Ten of Wands was card number 22, the card Blessed. This tells me that whatever it is that you chose to stop participating in, could be a relationship, could be a job, could be, it doesn't have to be a love relationship. It could be any type of relationship or situation in your life. You probably chose to kind of unload these burdens, this guilt, whatever it is that you're carrying here, which was a pretty profound moment, okay? Now, especially if somebody left you, if there was a form of rejection of any kind here, because we have the unrequited love. There's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going, along with the reconciliation. Now, I know not all of you are here for love, but because it's a Mars and Venus conjunction, a lot of this is going to play out within our relationship sector. So this doesn't have to mean love either. An unrequited love would have maybe like a job offer or something. Maybe you started a job and you really didn't like it and you left, right? And reconciliation, maybe they come back and offer you something better or a raise in pay, but definitely the past kind of coming back. But I don't see you wanting this, because I think you realize what a blessing it was when it ended. And truth be told, right here, making a choice, card number 3, right underneath the Lover's card, is that you did have a choice. And if this is someone coming back from you from the past, I think it's a clear indication that you're going to clearly see both sides of the road. Now, what I do have to say is the Page of Earth does not, he's not impulsive and he's not forgetful, right? And I don't think you're going to look at this situation with rose-colored glasses, because here we have this Ace of Swords. And I think that's about being honest and being clear, having the clarity. We see the truth in both situations, and we know how this made us feel in the past. What I really don't like is if this is representing a person, or if this is representing a job scenario. I think if they're coming back, Page of Wands, they're really offering very little, okay? Like, it's almost insulting. Somebody wants to come back in your life, somebody wants to use your resources in some way, or, have you work for them. And they're probably aware, right? Like, they participated, they're aware of how hard it was. And so for them to come back in your life and offer you, again, very, very little, tells me, 1, you probably don't trust it, and 2, you're very clear on the pattern. And I'm just picking up on this girl here in this picture under the transformation. She's kind of like blowing things away from her. And I think if this is a situation, especially like a love situation, it's kind of blowing the passion away. That's not your number one priority anymore. I think that you want something that represents something foundational, something real, something that can grow. Like I said, I was picking up that intuition of you wanting growth. And that may mean that you've got to take a temporary step back from the fire and the passion and look for something better. But I think that this Ace of Swords here and this transformation card is super important. Like, this is like a pivotal moment. Yes, it can be a conversation, an email, a message that comes through, but I think that you approach this differently. And especially, like I said, picking up on this representing cycles, somebody or something that keeps coming back and coming back and coming back, right? And maybe you've been in that people-pleasing kind of not wanting to make waves. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And I don't think that that is the way that you approach it. See, because I think this is you, the unrequited love. I think this is your energy no longer interested in this Page of Wands character. Because your values have changed. Because you want what you want is different. And under here we have share your voice, come out of the cave, persecution and expression. Persecution and unrequited love paired with this Ace of Swords probably means you have a lot to say to this person. And because the end result is a Four of Swords with that unrequited love, I don't think that you have any intentions of entertaining this in any way. And I think this whole situation is a confirmation of your personal growth. Because the whole point of the whole thing was getting you to express what your needs actually are. You can't settle for anything less than, because when we do, it becomes a resentment and it turns into a burden and it's heavy and we hate to carry it. And when we're in situations like that, a job, a relationship, it affects all aspects of our life. It makes all things feel more difficult. It keeps us in a negative, low vibrational place. And I get the feeling, I get the intuition that in this person's absence, you found peace. You didn't have to carry that burden with you all of the time. And I think maybe those are some of the words that you'll be sharing with this person, because I think that this is a final end. I think this is the end of a phase that you've been in for probably quite some time, a phase of acceptance or patience or waiting for others in some way. Because the Page of Wands isn't going to make any commitment. Right? Like, he's all about the play. He's all about the creation. But he's probably not sticking around. And you, being a Page of Earth, wants something that holds a little bit more potential. Now, you don't have to be mean. You don't have to be awful about it, because the whole intention of this is to find peace. Going back and forth and arguing with this person certainly won't bring peace. And for some of you, you might have to cut somebody off completely. For some of you, you might have to cut off, block people from social media or email or text messages or whatever. But it brings a resolution, right? Like, this is a final decision. Maybe the universe is testing you, because it does that. It wants to make sure that you're ready for the new thing, that you've completed this karmic lesson. And, you know, we could be really smart, like, we're not going to fall for this one person's trick. And then it, like, throws you something else to kind of test you. And I think that's where you're at. I think that you know better now. I think, you know, like I said, you've had so much growth that these are things that you could never settle for again. And I mean, let's take a minute to look how beautiful this is. We've got blessed, bookended with gratitude. I am thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. Because when you are in a more peaceful place, you start to be able to recognize the things that you have to be grateful for. If we're in a fight or flight place, or aggravation and frustration and negativity, it's harder to connect to our gratitude. And if you were with somebody that was zapping you of that energy, this is a promise that life is going to start bearing fruit again. And it's not about your hard work and labor, it's about your peace. And the lesson here is how important your peace truly is. And any relationships in your life that make you feel unsure or unstable or on uneven ground, aren't worth your time and investment. And really, this is not a time, and you cannot anymore hold back your voice. You can't, resist saying the things that need to be said. You can't resist telling people how you want to be treated and what your expectations are. And I think this has a lot to do with intentions as well. And knowing that it's okay. It's okay to ask somebody what their intentions are. And if they come across as a Page of Wands, it's okay to say, this really isn't worth my time. And there's no doubt with the Page of Earth that you are absolutely moving into a new phase where you could meet people and spend your time in much more beautiful energy, where you can attract love and abundance. Really beautiful reading, number one. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. And I'm going to pop over to pile number 2 in a second. Okay, pile number 2. I do have to tell you guys, this was a rather weird reading. I had to sit with it for a minute. I do think this has a lot more to do with your intuition than really any external sources right now. So you are coming out as a Page of Fire, which does tell me that you are following your intuition. You have the ability to be curious right now and free, and really embrace this freedom. And it's about a new passion coming towards you. Like, this is a new you. You've probably been under a transformation process, right? Maybe learning some new spiritual lessons, maybe looking into the law of attraction, or studying, or just, new spiritual inspirations. Because your environment is that of the High Priestess, which tells me that you are kind of listening to your higher being, which is wonderful when these two energies can exist at the same time, because there's the willingness to listen and the ability to hear it with the High Priestess. Now, there's a few different messages here. I'm going to try to cover them all, but still kind of keep it short. Because it's a general reading, I try to keep it a little bit, more general. But because it's Mars and Venus, I did pull some actual love cards, and they do kind of change the tone of the reading. So here we've got this Knight of Cups and this Ace of Wands. And I know all eyes are going to kind of be turned to this deception card here. Someone is wearing a false self-mask in this relationship. See, what I feel like is happening is someone is offering love to you. That's how I feel this Knight of Cups is. If this is a new date, new relationship, a new job, there's definitely emotional fulfillment, or at least the potential of. Now, when I see a Knight of Cups, I know that this is more of an internal emotional process. kind of pulling at your heartstrings. What do you truly want and desire here with this Ace of Wands? Now, this is beautiful energy because it is embracing both the emotional self and the passionate self, which really is that kind of Mars-Venus dynamic, the feminine and the masculine, the ability to receive and the ability to attract, and the ability to act, to create, and to achieve. What I think is kind of funny, this energy I'm picking up on, is the Knight of Cups. You may not be seeing clearly at this time with this deception card. I don't pick up on an energy of deception. Now, I know it says wearing a false mask in this relationship, but I don't think it's in negative terms. And I think if this is another person coming towards you or seeking your attention in some way, you may not be reading their emotions so clearly. Or maybe you're reading them, but what they're displaying to you is not the same. Because I feel like there's a lot of emotions coming from this Knight of Cups. And we've got this Treasure Island card down here. So it's almost as if the universe is kind of handing you a gift. And there could be a part of you that's not quite trusting it. Because remember, the universe is putting you in a position where you have to trust. Which means you're not going to have the answers. You're not going to see the big picture. You're not really going to know how this person feels. And maybe for some of you, this is another person that's coming off a little bit colder. Maybe not expressing themselves clearly. Not really letting you know how they feel. And maybe that's because of fears. Maybe that's you as well. Maybe this is you kind of gaining emotions for a certain situation, yet not wanting to be open and vulnerable. Now, I don't normally do this, but I did want to read this because the way this is actually worded in the book, I think, is kind of an important detail in the reading. So, card number 9, Treasure Island. You've worked hard and acted upon your unwavering belief in abundance, and suddenly, in the midst of it all, you hit the jackpot. You have uncovered the map to buried treasure and tapped the unlimited potential within you. What you must hone now is your ability to recognize when X marks the spot, because some of these golden opportunities may be obvious, but others may not be so readily apparent. And so trust your intuition to light your way now as you enter this truly prosperous phase where all the long, hard work navigating your inner life is now paying off externally. In all aspects of your life at this time, you have good fortune. And don't forget to enjoy it and share it with others, as treasure shared multiplies like magic. So I just wanted to read that part to you because it has such a heavy tie-in to this High Priestess energy. And that's what I think is, you don't really see the whole picture right now. And that makes sense because you're a page of fire. You're just kind of stepping into your power at this time. Starting to realize that the things that you manifest are really coming to fruition. And this Ace of Wands is definitely an indication, especially clarified with this magic prayer card number 32. Now, what's odd about the magic prayer card number 32 is that you have certainly put a request out to the universe, right? Like said, I want to experience this thing. I want this kind of love in my life. I want to do this kind of work. I want to be emotionally fulfilled. I want to be happy. I want to, all those things. All those prayers, or like Abraham Hicks refers to as the rockets of desire, right? And here they are coming back. But 32 breaks down to a 5, which is kind of an irritating number because it gets us to change. Because when we start to get the things that our heart desires, we're all like, whoa, 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 what's happening? Can I trust this? And the 7 of Pentacles here is an indication to me that there may be a little bit of a lack of trust. Maybe over-analyzing the situation, worrying, trying to figure out, like, is this true? Can I trust this? Are these solid foundations? And the resistance may be causing some delay, which is kind of indicating the deception. It might appear to you right now like this thing, although it's really great, isn't going to go anywhere. And this is where the universe kind of trips you up, okay? This is where things have to change. We've got to change the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. Now, this is more about the inner stuff, especially when he's paired with a Hierophant. And the universe is like, okay, you've done the learning process, right? Especially if you're somebody who's been listening to tarot, studying astrology, or anybody who's been like really working on the law of attraction and the universal laws in general. And so there's the part of you that's kind of like, how this works. And you've done it. You've done the work. And this does indicate to me that there's no real adjustments that need to be made at this time. Yet you may be in a place of worrying, like, oh my God, I shouldn't say this. I can't do that. Can I trust this? How do I tweak it? And there's just a lot of stress that's coming from that Eight of Pentacles in reverse, although it's not so bad that it's in reverse as well, because it truly does indicate there's not a need for adjustment. That everything is working out exactly how it's supposed to, in exactly the time that it's supposed to. Now the Seven of Pentacles will move slow. It's Hierophant card. It's about strong faith, which takes time to build. Strong foundations take time to build. And if are things that are moving slowly in this process, it's a blessing. Because whatever's happening is making it stronger. It's building it stronger. And see, under here we have this Pleiades card, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. So to me, it's an indication that this gift is meant for you. In return for the hard work you've done, in return for your focus on raising your vibration, you get the gifts of your abundance. And with that comes responsibility, right? The Hierophant always represents responsibility. Okay, now you have to maintain this. How are you going to maintain this? And the double mission here is the time that it takes to build this and get this off the ground is probably indication of how productive the time is. There's carefulness that comes from this. And I do believe that although you're in a page of fire, maybe this other person is being a little bit more practical, a little bit slower in their movement. Maybe they're in an overanalyzing process, but it will result in some form of a commitment. As long as you hold faith in your intentions and the manifestations, as long as you hold faith that the universe will always respond to your request, because it will. And there's a promise here that you will overcome all the obstacles, but the thing that helps you to overcome the obstacles is the passion, right? You are page, you are fire. Here we have the fire. Here we have the fire. And this indicates to me, here we have the card passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. The intuition, the key to your intuition is, where's the passion? And for some of you, quite literally, maybe it's a time to start igniting more of a sexual or creative aspect to your life. And that's probably something that indicates to you when and how this will truly work out. And under here we have self-esteem. I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. So this is an indication, again, that this is all meant for something that leads you to the bigger thing. And see, I think the universe is just giving you, like, I don't want to say breadcrumbs, but breadcrumbs. Like leading you little to little, little by little by little into the bigger thing. But in order to receive and in order to accept it, you have to be in a high vibration of deserving. When we see the self-esteem card pop up, it's believing in your gifts. And I think it's really important to understand for all of you that if there's something that you really love doing, okay, if there's like a passion or a hobby or something that makes you feel like time just disappears, if you're in a relationship with somebody and it's so passionate and ignited, and again it feels kind of like time just disappears, kind of carries that feeling of magic, whereas other things kind of feel like that burden, the resentment, the responsibility, the I have to's. And this is a feeling of I want to, I can't wait to, I never want to stop doing that thing. And I think that's what you're investing in. Like I said, it's not about the hard work. It's not about doing the hard work. I'm getting that message for a lot of signs this month. It's just not really a time to focus on the work. It's a time to focus on the journey, on the passion in life, and what the new things are. And if you can hold on to the belief that the seeds you planted have to take root, and worrying over whether they're going to poke out of the ground isn't really going to get you anywhere, but the trusting that they will, trusting that what you're starting to see now will grow, is an indication of your absolute success. My advice to you in the next couple of weeks is to allow yourself to really enjoy life, to do those things that you really love, to spend time with those people that make you feel really good. When the universe is handing you gifts, don't question whether you're deserving. Thank them. Bask in the high vibration and share that with others, because when you light up a room, you heal the collective. And we all desperately need each and every one of us to find our happiness. All right, pile number 2. What a beautiful reading, guys. I love you so much. All right, jumping into pile number 3 in a sec. Okay, pile number 3. You guys chose the reddish agate, which I often associate with the root chakra. And I'm not surprised because we have this King of Pentacles here, and there's a lot about like the foundation, your foundation. And I like this reading because I think the universe is asking you to step up into a adventure. That's what I'm getting here. Now, you're coming out as a King of Air. And normally I like a King of Air because, he's so dignified and so controlled. Everything is about logic and strategy. And the thing about the King of Air is that he's never really disappointed, right? He doesn't invest emotionally in anything that doesn't seem solid. And that way he's never disappointed. And so in a lot of ways I refer to him as the Ice King. And I'm wondering if you don't have a habit, maybe from experience, from past experience, a habit of approaching love in this way. And it's not to say it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think that you're going through an experience here where you're being asked to invest a little more emotionally. Now we have that paired with your environment, which is a world card, which does indicate endings and new beginnings, welcoming in the new phases, ending of karmic cycles. And I think the karmic cycles are kind of reflected here with the Seven of Swords and the Six of Pentacles. Now, the Seven of Swords is always my card of self-sabotage. Yes, it could often mean that other people have done you wrong, right? And it's probably like a learned behavior or our own defense mechanisms against this, which means that we're probably in a state of always expecting this from others. You know, and the King of Air can kind of have this attitude of somebody that has to prove their worth first, somebody that has to earn their trust. And to me, this energy sets a pretty high standard. And I don't like the Seven of Swords next to a Six of Pentacles in reverse, because this can kind of keep you in your own emotional prison as far as experience goes, right? Like if you are never willing to give without some form of a guarantee that this person will give back, that it will be equal, and you might miss out on some opportunities, which we have here, the Three of Wands in reverse. Now, the World too can represent a missing of opportunity. And I think for some of you, as Jupiter which has been in Pisces for the past couple of months, and it has felt so beautiful and wonderful to me. I've seen it in other people. It's been just a really amazing energy, like renewed hope, healing, faith, believing again, you know, kind of a more romantic rose-colored glasses. And I know that's like probably not your thing, right? You coming out as a King of Air, like this is certainly not somebody that would ever put on a set of rose-colored glasses for anyone. But I think your disconnection with the imaginative state, with the possibility that things sometimes do work out, is possibly a setup for a pretty strong karmic lesson. Now, we all have free will. You could all do what you want. And for some of you, I think you will stay in this King of Air because this comes from old wounds. Like I said, this is learned behavior. This is all the times that you invested emotionally and the other person took you for granted. Maybe there was deception. Maybe there was betrayal. Definitely broken promises. And you began to look from like the greater picture and you thought, well, how do I resist being hurt again? And the answer is to not emotionally invest. Because the Six of Pentacles, although it's a pentacle, like, so it does represent like your time, your resources, your money, but it also represents compassion. And to me, this King of Air is kind of giving off this feeling of a little bit like an Ebenezer Scrooge. You know, it could be a little bit negative, like, ugh, love never works out for me. Oh, you can't believe anything people say. Maybe you're like one of those people that refuses to watch like romantic comedies. You're just like super negative. For some of you, for others, this is just self-protection. But something in the past Mars-Venus cycle probably put you in this energy of having to protect yourself and not really having faith that the universe does bring beautiful gifts and wonderful people into your life. We have this new love here. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings, and then in comes all the fear, right? In comes all the memory of how it's always been. But here we have card number 27, exchanging of gifts, which is a promise that you'll get exactly what you give. And so if you do have someone or something that is of romantic, okay? And it doesn't have to be love, guys. I pulled these because it's Mars and Venus, but in all reality, new love can represent a new passion, a new job offer, a new hobby that comes along, a new friend that comes into your life. And there might be a part of you that's leery of investing, right? And this is a promise that if you don't, make the phone calls, do the text messages, invite them places, nurture it, invest in your time and passion and emotions into it, then you can't expect the other person to give back either. And that's kind of the catch-22, and it's probably where you guys have been stuck a little. I mean, you're all thinking that you're just protecting yourself and other people should bend over backwards and earn your trust. But what other people are getting is that you don't really have any interest. We have this Field of Dreams, card number 21. The World card is card number 21. And these both indicate that you get what you reap, what you sow. So what you're willing to put into a relationship, be it faith, trust, emotions, whatever it is exactly how it will turn out. And I love this because we have the World card, and then we have the Five of Wands in reverse, and then we have this take a break, a life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. And I feel like this King of Air kind of energy is a little bit exhausting. And I get the sense that you're a little bit tired of it. Because you have to admit that there's a part of you that wants to step out of that fight or flight mode, that wants to find a softer place to land, that wants to believe that the world is a beautiful place, that there are still good people. And sometimes what happens when we're always in this negative mode is that like self-made prophecies actually happen. I mean, when we assume that people are going to do bad things, more likely than not, they will. And so it's a reinvention of your beliefs, your reinvention of your faith that has the ability to determine how this will go. And I see you here as the King of Pentacles, which is still a pretty... It's still a pretty stubborn energy, right? Because we've got let go of control issues, allow the situation to unfold naturally, and then we've got surrender. I can release my need to control. And the King of Pentacles, Taurus, Capricorn energy, certainly has a need to control the situation, or at least need to know how it's going to go, what the intentions are. They're very practical and they need a plan. So like, what's the 1-year plan? What's the 3-year plan? What's the 10-year plan? What's the big picture? Where are we going? How much are we investing? What's the ROI? Like, that's how the King of Pentacles thinks. Now, I like that you're coming out here as the King of Pentacles. I think this is you. I think this is you adapting and starting to realize that you don't have to stay in this energy. Maybe this person is here, divinely put here by the universe to kind of get you to surrender here a little bit more. And I think if you do have something beautiful coming into your life, now is a really opportune time to break this habit and allow yourself to invest. And listen, it still doesn't matter where it's going to go. Still doesn't matter about the long-term plan. I think that's the most important message here. Because what happens is the King of Air is prepared for changes, but the King of Pentacles is prepared to invest in solid foundations, in the long-term plan. And I think you realize that you can't really invest in anything long-term in this energy of forward movement And I think deep down what you truly desire is to invest in something of value. Allow this situation to unfold naturally. This is a need to stay grounded, which means if there's things you can do to get out of your head a little, like if you're, reading horoscopes, you're trying to figure out or asking your friends, like, what do you think? How do you think this go? What do you think this meant? It's probably talking about it, reading about it, analyzing in a million different ways probably isn't any way to calm yourself. And see, this is what I mean about all of us having these major lessons in our life, so that when these new situations come in, we could approach them differently than we did before. And so I think that you have, if you're willing to, the ability to kind of readjust your approach here. And just for once, allow yourself to have that adventure where it doesn't matter where it goes. It doesn't matter if it's going to be the next 20 years or the next 3 months. Because these are indications that you're receiving a gift. And that you could take a break and drop the defenses. And this is something that you can eventually invest in. But in this energy, you can kind of have a tendency to let your crazy hang out a little, okay? So let's take a break, take a step back, get grounded in ourselves, know that it doesn't matter which way it goes. We could still invest, and if it doesn't work out, we're still okay. Still have everything that we need. Our foundations are still strong. We took a risk, but it was worth it. All right, pile number 3. Beautiful, beautiful reading, guys. All right. I will be seeing you soon, probably for that Aquarius full moon, and then for your August videos, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. Love you. Bye.